This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode does not contain spoilers, but does mention The Hunger Games, Handmaid's Tale, Pacific Rim, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. For full list, please see show notes. There is also mention of sexual assault.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the YA literature and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing Iron Widow by Shirin J. Zhao.
And right off the bat, I think we really want to preface this episode by saying how much we loved this book. I mean, we've been sending voice memos and memes and like gushing before, like since we've been reading it. And we even read this twice. So, and through the audio version. So please give us some allowances. Some of the things that we're going to be saying is definitely going to be based off of like the narrator's pronunciation. So we will be trying to honor that as much as possible.
And here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact for everybody. I read this blind, which is kind of new for the podcast. So Jessica Marie, you usually go into everything blind, and I'm sure that was like so fun for you. I read this last summer. Did I read this last summer?
I think it was, last summer, because you were even posting things on socials to be like, I cannot shut up about this book, but I don't know who to talk to about it.
Yeah, I've been on my bullshit about this book. I love this book. So I read this last summer and it blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. But I went into this blind. So I was shooketh to my fucking core after like the prologue. I was expecting from the cover some sort of like mythical historical retelling of some like folklore situation. I was not expecting Pacific Rim Starship Troopers Handmaid's Tale.
No, in the best way possible, because I think, like you said, you see the cover, and I think really you think, okay, you see the cover and you think, okay, badass female MC, let's go. Like, that's all we really needed to know. And it's written so well, like everything about it, the characters, because it's not just her, it's all the three main characters involved. And people they're doing the thing. They're doing the thing. They have actions. I think the author, they even posted something on their website or even on their socials about where you can get certain like standees and shelfies and just like some of their items related to this book. And the shelfie that is related to the female MC, the tagline in that, and we'll put this all in the show notes, says, you know, I support women's rights, but more importantly, I support women's wrongs. And that cannot be more true, because another thing, I'm reading this and it's like, but she didn't do anything wrong. So I don't know what this is about us, because I know you're in agreement there.
I have never agreed more. I have never been so satisfied with a book, honestly. It is just so refreshing to see a character just make all of the choices that you wish characters would make to keep the story going along. It's like, oh, well, she won't torture this person. Bet. Oh, she's going to be in a love triangle. Okay, let's talk about it. She isn't going to, murder these people. Okay, let's go. Amazing.
And we talked about this earlier too. It was refreshing to see all of those choices, because we've discussed, if it was us in these roles, we've said most of the times the characters have been like, they're a better person than I am because I would have done X, Y, Z. And in this book, the character is doing what we've always said what we would be doing instead. And I'm like, finally, it's great. Somebody's on the same page with us.
Which is funny because as we said, like both of us were absolutely hooked by the prologue. But in chapter 1, of course, we'll talk about all this, but there is a trope in chapter 1 where I was like, oh, is this what we're doing? Is this what we're doing? Are we doing best friend to lover? Is this the trope? But then she was like, nope. No,
I gotta go my own way.
Yeah.
Like she literally was like, bye, I got shit to do. The biggest hesitation she has right out the gate in chapter 1, she's like, do I tell him? Do I not tell him? I guess I'll just tell him because he was like looking at me the way he's looking at me. Okay. And he just plucked my eyebrows. Like, man went through it.
And who is this man?
Okay. So let's do a quick character rundown. And we'll just do the mains. In the prologue, you have Young Wong, who is a prince it's kind of a fake out male MC because you think he's going to have this pivotal role. He just fights the Huanduans, who are kind of like, lack of a better term, the bad guys. But the prince killed her sister, her being Zheqian, who is the female MC. And then in chapter 1, the first actual male main character is Iju, and they call him like the rich boy. He just comes from a very affluent family. He has like a billion brothers. His father is the head of this huge media conglomerate of Huaxia, kind of oversees the country that they're staying in. And there is another male MC, Le Chemin, and he is a kind of like, I want to say another type of fighter, protector. And I say protector because he's constantly going up against the Huanduans who are attacking where they live. And then I would say like the silent character would be Zheqian's sister, who died because she's constantly in the back of her mind and kind of the driving force of why Zheqian's making the decisions that she makes to propel her forward and basically eventually uprise against the government and say like, fuck you, I'm taking you down from the inside.
It's very the media aspect of this, which again, when in Blind, both of us was not expecting technology at all, is very similar to me, like the Hunger Games, right?
Yes.
Like that you work in the media, like presenting everything, doing the interviews.
Was that live? Did we swipe it from like, did we scour? Where is that still? Did we cut and she even said at one point, she goes, how long has it been? It's been 2 weeks. Didn't you guys like cut the stream, cut the feed? They're like, we did, but like people were watching also on their own devices. So it's just kind of, the media propelling itself, and it's part of all the conversations. And how they use, and even like later in the book, how they use the media to their advantage, or like to help them, not even to their advantage. Because at one point she says, we all know that like, even though we signed with our fingerprints, is I think what the quote is. She goes, if this goes to shit and nobody likes it, we all know that this is just for appearances, because this whole quote unquote contract goes right out the window.
It's very Peter Malark, the way that he was working the media. Like, I love it. Let's just get right into this. This is a story about like vengeance, revenge, female rage, down with the government, down with men, down with expectations, stereotypes, trauma,
societal standards, government standards, the patriarchy, family expectation. It was just like down with the bullshit. That might even be one of the lines. They were like, I'm over this bullshit. Why do we have to choose? Can't we just like love life and love the people that we're with?
So we're just going to be like gushing and like raging as we go. Okay.
Which is exactly how the voice memos were when we were texting back and forth. And it's like maniacal laughter because you're like, I'm going insane for like having so much rage and nothing was coherent because you were just like making lots of sound effects.
It's hard to form words and talk about it like coherently, but I'm gonna give it my fucking best. Okay. So we start off, the book starts off by giving us like class types and giving us like information. And then we have our prologue, and our prologue is with Yang Wang. If we get right into it, Yang Wang killed, Jitian's sister. He is the one he is our main bad guy, motivating guy for Jitian, as you said, Jess. And it is through his point of view that we get the world building of like, what is a chrysalis? You know, he's in the nine-tailed fox. What's the pilot seat? What is chi? What are concubines? Like, so we get a really kind of sketch on what is going on here. And just from this basic prologue, we get giant mech suits and the world building of like 2,000 years ago. The wind came and like wiped out all the humans, but the yellow sovereign came and invented chrysalises with the gods, but the gods aren't here and they don't interact with us. They just drop down medicine and technology and manuals when we're good enough. And it is in this prologue that we get the like problem that we have here. This is kind of like the Handmaid's Tale aspect of it, which is the piloting system with the concubines. The male pilot sits higher and wraps himself around the female pilot who sits lower. And she basically is a fucking battery, and he drains her to power this mech suit to fight these aliens. I'm saying in quote, that are taking over the world, quote, 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 quote. And we get all of that in the prologue. And we even get Yang Wang being a complete dick, being like, I can't think about him a lot because like I go through a lot of concubines and I feel it or die. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. And you, and it's later unraveled, like, what is a concubine? Like, it's basically that men need the women because men aren't sufficient enough. And so, here, women have energy. I'm just going to use her energy, drain hers. And it's a Spinal Tap situation. So they get needles into their backs and it's all like you get the visual. And it's a great visual because you can see it on the big screen, which is a great thing because it's been confirmed that the options have been bought. But it's men need the women to survive this battle. And then once the battery is drained from the women, it's like, women can't survive and they don't have this personality. Oh, and they tap into their personality, like their memories and stuff. But Yang Wang is very much like, whatever. Like, I just skirt right past that. Cause what I need is like, I just need what I need, the chi to fight. And the chi is what the energy is. And then you just toss it back. And then the families, it's supposed to be this very like a rite of passage, like how lucky we are that our daughter was chosen for somebody to use her chi to fight the Huanduans.
Yeah.
And when they're supposed to the government's supposed to compensate said families, but that doesn't always happen.
Right. They have to die in battle for them to get the war compensation. Talking about society. Society is a great way to talk about chapter 1 and our intro, because as we mentioned, Iju, our beautiful, as the author says on their website, little twink boy, he is plucking Jitian's eyebrows because she is going to be given to a concubine to Yang Wang. They are so in love. It is adorable. The first time I read it, I was kind of like, until she like really breaks his heart. The second time, knowing how it ends, I was just like, gosh, they're so smitten with each other. Like it's adorable.
And she's in denial because they've been seeing each other kind of hidden because she kind of goes off and hangs out in the mountains, and her family is all about like her family. Keep in mind is very much like, oh, your maidenhood, you need to be you have to present yourself a certain way. And her sister has already gone off. Been used as a concubine, died, but not in battle. So her family didn't get the compensation. So now, Jitian is driven by revenge, and she says, like, you know what? She's going to offer herself to Yang Wang, not because she thinks it's like this huge honor. She's gonna like fucking unalive him. She's like, you killed my sister. Like, that sucks to be you. I'm going to infiltrate from the inside out. So that's why she's talking to Iju to be like, oh, can you like help prettify me? And of course he's like, you're conventionally attractive, I guess, but like, I think you were always pretty. They're so nervous around each other. And at this part in the book, they've never done anything. They're just like, they have this emotional connection. They adore each other. They've been seeing each other at least once a month for 3 years. And she makes a comment to that later in the book, like, how well can you really know a person? And I was like, I'm pretty sure those combos are really deep. So
yeah,
they know each other pretty well.
They do know each other really well. And you can tell that they have really deep conversations just from like their butterfly conversation when the butterfly comes out and they're talking about like female and male and Iju is just like very perceptive on things. He also lets Jitian read all of his school notes and like use his tablet, which is forbidden. She's a girl. She can't, right? She is a female. She would like taint it. She says like with her femaleness or whatever. Just it's, ugh.
Well, and he encouraged it because when she would ask questions, he's like, you know what to do.
Look it up.
Like it was basically like Google the answer, look it up. And there were questions, and this is where we say like, oh wait, I was trying to look up this answer and an alert came up from the government. You can't look this up. You can't do this. You can't. And she's like, whoa, what is going on? He goes, oh yeah, there's like restrictions. So like, understand that that's the type of world the type of government that we are dealing with in this book.
And it is right here in chapter 1 where they're talking about balanced matches between the chrysalis and why are girls like, why can't girls like do it? Like what's the problem? Like what's the difference? Like why couldn't we do it? That is right there in chapter 1. And of course that's like that turns out to be the whole like, point of the book kind of.
And it's funny because she asks this question in chapter 1 and later in the book, she goes, why weren't we asking the question the whole time? Because she goes, what is it about gender that matters so much to the system anyway? Isn't piloting entirely a mental thing? So why is it always the girls that have to be sacrificed for power?
Yeah. And it's right there. It's right there. And so it kind of forces that sits like in the back of the reader's head too. So it kind of like builds and you get angry as she gets like angry. Oh, it's just amazing. It is amazing. Amazing. Something that I wasn't expecting is I was not expecting for Jitian to actually tell her plans to Iju. Like the communication is phenomenal and I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I have nothing. Absolutely. Just everything that they do. From chapter 1, I only have one criticism in this book, and we talked about it, and we'll get to it too. It's just like there's a cattiness aspect of like girl against girl. That's really the only thing I have a problem with. I mean, obviously the government, but like that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Things that we have a problem with. How about the very vivid descriptions of the foot binding and the tending of the feet that start here in I believe it's chapter 1 and take us, Jitian talks about it the entire book, and it is a huge part of her character, the fact that her human body is considered frail and broken, but her mental capacity is so strong that she can, control these huge like mech suits. And it is hard for her to like go back into her. It's very Avatar. It's very Avatar.
Well, and even with the foot binding, and she explains a little bit about like what it means in this book, it's something that's constantly with her. And when she's recognizing, especially once we get later in the book, about her family did this, like she says, like, my grandmother was the one who broke my feet. My mother was there encouraging it. Like even there was this part where she goes, Mom, she straight up tells her mom, you're more focused on me looking presentable than the fact that I'm actually going to be sacrificing myself. And her mom says, oh, honey, look at you. You actually listened to me and did your eyebrows. That was her whole concern. And then she's like, she even, you know, like many people, we try to make excuses for our family. And that's something that Jiqian does work through. And then at the end of the book, obviously this is not, you know, that we're talking about the book. This isn't entirely spoiler free. At the end of the book, she sees her family show empathy and fear and caring towards her brother, but not for her sister and not for herself. So it was a rude awakening to be like, I have been making excuses for you my entire life. And it had nothing to do with you. Or it really had everything to do with you. You have the capacity, but only for him. Because in this society and in the family dynamics of this culture, it's the men are kind of what lead everything. They're the prestige. They're the ones who are supposed to be carried on. When you're finding out everything that's being covered is that the women are superior the whole time, and nobody can handle the fact that the women are more powerful. So you have to make them placate and be in these subservient roles and think that their whole role is to serve the men and care for the men and be these caretakers. And it's like, if you're not getting riled up, I know, Laura, you had said that you were doing some research. You were like, these are not passing the vibe checks.
Yeah. No, I got on Reddit to see what people think about this book. And, it's wild. It's a wild place out there. People are wild. Didn't pass the vibe check. We absolutely do pass the vibe check though, because this book fucking slaps. This family is complete dog shit, right? Like every single one of them. The sister's dead, bless her. Dad's piece of shit. Mom and grandma live to keep the peace, right? That's kind of the mantra. Keep the peace. Keep the peace.
Yeah, it's like a form of survival too, because they even said like her dad didn't have to say anything to know what he was like emotionally abusive in a way to like keep everybody on their toes. But it's not like the mother wasn't protecting her daughter and doing any favors. Like even with the grandmother, she goes, I tried to sneak out a few times, so now I gotta stay in the same room with my grandparents.
The room though, she doesn't even have her own bed. She only has straw.
So it's one of those things where she was like, when she finally said to her parents, like, oh, I'm trying to like basically like give myself up to Hyungwon and be this concubine. And she told her parents, and her parents were all threatening her. And she goes, what are you going to do about it? You can't touch me, because if I'm not deemed presentable, they're not going to want me, and you're not going to get your fucking paycheck.
Yep. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing. Fucking nothing. But you know what Iju does? Iju shows up and is like, hey, do you want to marry me?
I'll secure the paycheck. You want a payday? I'll give you a payday.
Yeah, let's get married. Let's get married. I love the conversation. that Jiqian has with Iju after she drags him into her house. She was like, fuck you, basically, for trying to come up in here and like make me change my mind and bullshit. If I go with you now to either we go to the capital or we run away, I will resent the fuck out of you, because you made me not do the thing that I was gonna do. And you made me choose you. And I fucking hate that. And what does she say? She says like, it'll be the same fight in a different place.
And if I go, I will haunt you. I will kill myself and haunt you the rest of your fucking life. I love it. I loved it. I highlighted it. She's like, and how dare, not only will I not have I'm not going to have your spawn. God, she was like, I'm not having anybody's. Like, God, how dare you? You knew when you did this anyway.
Yeah, you knew you did this anyway, and like, fuck you. He's like, we can run away. She's like, you are 18. Your money is dependent on your dad's fucking mercy. What are you on about? Be so fucking for real right now.
She's so good. I have two things in that part that I highlighted also. He's like, oh, but you're the dream. I just don't want to hide with you anymore. And she goes, you seriously need to dream bigger then. Like,
fucking lay it out on him. I love her so much. And then later on, she's like, well, I could, like, I guess they have like this soft moment where she's like, you know what, I could see this as like really comfortable if I wanted to be safe and if I wanted to be loved, but I have no faith in love. So love cannot save me. I choose vengeance. Bye. Like, it's so good. It's
she's
so
like,
good. You know that scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once where she goes, no, I need to go back. I need to tell my husband how much awesome my life is without him. That's this.
It's so good. It's so good. And then, of course, she goes. She's like, all right, fuck you. I'm out. Goodbye. She's like, and then Jitian's like on the shuttle or whatever, and she's going to the wall, and she's just like, I don't know how he's going to deal with my family, but it doesn't fucking matter. I'm out of there. Fuck them.
Yeah, because he timed it to know that he was he basically saw the government coming to get her, and he's like, I'm going to make it so she literally has no other choice. And she goes, you thought. And she's like, I'm making my choice. And they're there. So she's like, bye. And she goes, I imagined it like this giant spaceship being like, shroom, and like the government taking her up.
Yeah, just taking her away. Oh my God. So good. Then we have the whole like concubine initiation situation. But we also have like a lot of kind of world building, kind of dumping. We have like stats on the vermilion bird, 50 meters high, king class, strongest that we have. Li Shuming is the pilot. He's half Ron D. Has the highest spirit pressure in 2 centuries, and all his concubines die, and he has killed at least 12 concubines, like at that point.
So, and some background on him is that he was basically on death row because he committed patricide and killed, like, not only did he kill his dad, but he killed his brothers. So, but because he has such a high spirit level, spirit pressure, that helps fight against the Huenduans, who are like the invaders, I say in air quotes, more or less. He's protecting their where they live. They kind of keep prolonging his death sentence, for lack of a better word, because he's helping their region like survive and protect them from. So they kind of so he keeps going through these concubines, but he has this reputation of being so cruel and malice, and just he gives no fucks, basically, because what could he have done that it's so bad that he had to kill all his brothers and his dad.
Exactly. So he's kind of the and everyone hates him. And everyone hates him. And because everyone hates him, he's like a convicted murderer, and people don't associate with him, and they treat him like shit, and he is treated like shit. But Li Shuming did have a partner who was supposed to be his balanced match, Winda, and she ended up dying in their first battle. So he does have he's like our like bad boy who has like this soft broken heart, and he's also nerdy and wears glasses. And I love that is like revealed to us slowly. That is so great.
Bad boy with a heart of gold.
I know. So we love that. We love that. What we don't love is the pilot system, the concubines, and Yang Wang. And we're still fucking here with Yang Wang, because we're doing the concubine testing. Zetian, she has a 624 spirit pressure. That is the highest out of her group, and that is really, really, really high.
The average is 84.
Yeah.
So at this point the average is 84, compared to other females. Obviously later, if you've read the book, you find out that it's all females are basically all their spirit pressures are suppressed.
Yes. And you need a spirit pressure of 500 to pilot a chrysalis. So technically Zetian could pilot a chrysalis on her own with a 624 spirit pressure, but because she is a woman, she will only be in the yin seat, and right, yin?
Yeah,
in the yin seat, the black seat, the female seat, and she will be a battery, even though she could on her own power a chrysalis.
Right, and there's different levels also, because you have concubines who have to have at least 500, but because of her 600 plus score, that kind of puts her into a higher bracket, and that immediately marks her as a consort.
Yeah, so she's a consort. But all of these titles, which I just love about Jetian, because she's like, this is all fucking arbitrary. Like, none of this means anything. We're all fucking peasants. This is all bullshit. We're all gonna die. Like, why are we competing about this? Fuck all of this. Because this is like where the Handmaid's Tale kind of, I think, really comes in, and that's how it was marketed. Like, these aunties are really like the, what are they? They're ants in the Handmaid's Tale, right? Yeah, the ants. It's really kind of the same thing, because they're like, you could be his iron princess, like this goal to attain, like, even though it's impossible and there's only like 3 of them. But like, the purpose of the concubines, they have to fucking like support their master. They call them the masters, no matter what, offer comfort and companionship. You exist to please him, and make sure very specifically with Yang Wang that you do not flinch from his touch. Gross.
With him specifically, the fact that they have to highlight the fact, don't flinch, don't flinch.
Yeah, specifically with him, very gross. There's also a maidenhood test, gross. One girl didn't pass, also gross.
She didn't pass to them. This is like another thing, because this is like for some people, when with like girls and growing up, and you have that whole if you follow the podcast, I've gone on my rants, but like, if your hymen breaks, it happens in sports all the fucking time. So when they're talking about this part, they're like, oh, you didn't pass the maidenhood test. And this girl is terrified, because she's like, but how did I not pass? Like, you're thinking of everything else. Perhaps she was even training for this role as concubine. And then they were like, oh, well, I don't know what happened to her, but she definitely left here, and she went back to her family, and her family disowned her and like basically fed her to the pigs. All of it. How you read this and don't get fired up. And also, to say something we've said in previous episodes about the Handmaid's Tale that's written, there's nothing in that book that hasn't happened or is not currently happening in the world in which we live. So you think of that and apply it to this book. It's still happening. We might not have Megatron stomping around looking like Ninetales from Pokemon, but it's fucking happening.
It is fucking happening, and it's gross, and it's all so gross. And it continues to happen because Jetian is chosen to be the consort on call, pretty much, for Yang Wan's shift. He chooses her. He's like, I can feel your spirit pressure, which, knowing what we know, of course he fucking can feel it. They can all feel it.
Oh, yeah, because okay, so they're like, oh, you have to be physical with them. So, like, Yang Wan is already like, oh, she has such a high spirit pressure. I'm going to take her. He's about to fuck her. And she's in her mind, like, I have to give, like, this thing that I was told to protect my entire life, my virginity. Now I have to give it to this person who I don't want to. I'm just going to imagine it. It's Iju, and we're going to go from there. And then the Wendwins start attacking. And the rule, I guess, of the government is that the pilot has to grab the closest concubine, and she happens to be it because she's literally in bed with him. And so she's like, no, this is not and he's like, it's gonna be fine. And he basically just like tapes her mouth shut and throws her in the pilot seat with him.
Yeah, and she's kicking and screaming the whole way. And Jetian does have a really great internal thought. She goes, my body is mine, and I've chosen it for murder. Just so good. So good. It's so good. And then, of course, when he's trying to fuck her, he uses like the spirit flower and like the lines like curious girl, whatever. And then he forces her into the seat, and then we're in our first like battle. Jetian's in her first battle. Here's the thing. I did not understand the journey from like this, okay. So when Jetian enters the chrysalis and like links up to it, she is taken to the male pilot's subconscious.
Yes.
And that is and for Yang Wan, that is the jungle with the fruits and all of the girls' memories inside the fruits. And then once And once Jitian is able to realize that she's in that subconscious mind realm, she can break out of there and then be in the yin yang realm. And that is where it's a black and white floor. And that is where she can be face to face with the pilot.
Where she was, because she goes from his past, his child self, to his current self. But she's the only concubine who has been able to do this, because everything else, keep in mind, we know from the prologue that he was not able to, like, he just kind of dismisses everybody's memories and everybody's thoughts. And she lets it leak through that subconsciousness that he also picks up on. Oh, you're here to kill me. Like, not because she didn't really fully understand what that connection meant either. Obviously, the pilots knew, but the concubines aren't told that.
Yeah, no, she's totally freaked out about this. Jitian's like, what the fuck is going on? So she murders the young version of Yang Wang, and then she is in the version of the yin yang realm with him. And
her stabby face, she's like, I stabbed him 15 times. I was like, yes,
15 times. Yeah, and she's like, too bad you have to die. And yeah, rah, rah, rah. Everybody's like, rah, 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 rah. And it's amazing. And then she takes control of the fox. And then the fox battle, basically is basically her using Yang Wang as a battery, more or less, and figuring out how to control the fox on her own with no training, and people screaming at her, and she's huge, and everything's going on, and there's chi coming out of everywhere, because her chi form is metal, so it's white, which I just thought was very interesting, because that's the yang color for men. Very interesting.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
When they're talking about, like, but which would you, and then, but you can be both, and then the fit, but it's all good. It's all there. It's all there, right? It's all there. It's all good. It's all good. We get heroic form, right? And this is where Jitian's like, I'm pain free. Like, I'm not human. I am more than myself. Because remember, it feels like she cannot walk. She totters is the way that it is described. And also she, is always in pain when she walks. It feels like she's walking on knives. So for her to be pain free is like revolutionary for her, which is like, that sucks. That's sad. But what is not sad is Yang Wang's fucking dead. And she carries him out. Jitian carries him out after they win this battle, and she like kind of figures out what to do. She carries out that dead body. Oh my God. I was in shock.
Not only was I in shock, but I think just everything that comes with YA, because this is marketed as a YA book. I never think now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, yes, they did it. They're dead. But are they really dead? Like, I've gotten to the, but are we sure part of, I've been reading YA for so long now, YA fantasy.
And he's dead as fuck. He's dead as fuck. Dead as fuck. This is welcome to your nightmare. Can you imagine? We're going to see this on screen. Like, hopefully, knock on all the things. She's going to be out there with all the media,
and there's drones, because she's like, there's flies. She's like, welcome to your nightmare.
Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. And she puts her lotus foot on him, steps on, fucking queen shit. Queen shit. Oh my God, it's amazing. But of course, this can't fucking stand. So they take her to the strategist, and this is where we meet Simai, and this is where we get the first title, Iron Widow. And I love this because she's like, oh, there's a fucking title for it. So it's happened before. Why haven't I heard about it?
And she goes, chills ice down my back. Iron Widow. I can guess the meaning. A girl who sacrifices her male partner to power up chrysalises instead of the other way around. If there's a name for this, that implies a precedent. Yet I have never ever heard of this happening. So that's where she's like, what? Y'all aren't telling everybody what we actually know. And they try to dance around. Oh, we're going to talk to the strategist. We're going to talk to this person. We're going to talk to that person. We'll figure it out. And then, you know what we'll decide? You have such a great supercharged crystal, spirit level. we're going to pair you with Li Shimin, knowing that he's this person who basically kills everybody that he works with. Every concubine he works with.
Death sentence. They're like, oh, cool, awesome. Love this for you. Okay, we're gonna put you with the strongest guy that we have. That makes perfect sense, right? Yeah.
What do they say? He doesn't have co-pilots. He has sacrifices, and my next battle will be my execution. That's the line.
Yeah. So it's like, damn. But here we go. What happens? She goes to the cell. She's there for 13 meals and she contemplates unaliving herself. She says like her rags in the corner were like calling to her. But then she gets called to battle after a while. She meets Li Shuming. He's muzzled. He has short hair. He's half Rondi. That's important because hair is very important in their culture. So to have it short is like very shocking to her. She knows that he's there for patricide. And she's like, you know what though? Why is he kind of hot?
It's so good. She's like, and I like the part even later in the book. She's like, I hate you, talking to her body where, everybody around her was like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, not you, like, fuck me.
She's like, fuck me. Like, why is it kind of hot though? Like, damn. And then she's like, look at me. And like annoying all the guards. And then she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Did the people they killed, did they deserve it? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, yo, all right.
She goes, I believe you. That's all she said. And that was probably the first time for him too to be like, who is this girl?
Yeah. Like, holy shit. Who is this? His mind realm is like firebirds and swords and like tongues, memories, birds. It's all very. She gets through that, right? Like, of course she does. She's our girl.
And okay, so one of the things that I forgot because I just looked at my notes is the reason. So basically, your chi needs 2 weeks to like heal and recharge. So that's why Hyungwon was the first one, because in the beginning of the book, her parents and her family are watching the TV, and the Huindens are attacking, and the vermilion bird, who is Le Chamin, he's operating this mech suit. He's battling, so he needs to recharge. This is why Hyungwon goes to attack, and she's with her. So now it's been 2 weeks for the next attack, and they're paired together.
Yeah,
that I feel like that's important to note, because later on in the battles, they're like, wait, we don't have time to recharge. We kind of used it all up.
Yeah, why are you sending us out here? Why are you doing this? In the yin yang realm, Jitian and Li Shuming have a fight. They're strangling. They're both strangling. There's lots of fighting going on. They both live from that, and he is shocked by that. She is shocked by that. We get more information. Li Shuming is 19. He's also an alcoholic. It is what it is. That is a huge plot point, and I don't want to like get into it just yet because the reveal for that is like really, really good. But after this, the strategists are like, yo, so Li Shuming, what was that like? How you feeling, my guy? Tell me about it. Because, what the fuck? This level 3 transformation is not heroic. This is villainous form. What the fuck is this? I was like, villainous form. I like this. I like where this is going. And they're like, yeah, like this shouldn't happen. You're the female. You're meant to soothe, but you were fighting. You were like fighting each other. Like you can't have a match like this. What the fuck?
But at this, they were like, oh, we can't. She goes, but sorry, I'm all over the place. Jitian is like, she plays dumb. Because she's so smart. She's like, oh, guys, like, what just happened? I'm just as confused as you. What does this mean? Knowing full well that she knows she's got the star power. She knows that she's carrying a hefty level of energy if it's conflicting with not just the first guy, But Li Shimin also. So she's like, so what does this mean, that we're partners and, the government? So no, that's not what this means. That's not what this means. We don't know what this means. It can't mean that you're matched because your hearts weren't in sync. Like they were like, but you know what this could mean? Everybody's watching. So like, maybe we make you two a romantic pair and do like a husband-wife thing. And then it could start make sense to everybody. We got to keep the people calm.
Yeah. And they're like, you're going to move in together. You're going to be roommates. Hey, but also like your spirit pressure, both of you, is like kind of really rare. And like you can match spirit pressure. And that's really cool. So you got up to 18,000, which is like really, really wild. But as you said, Jess, you're not a balanced match, but you are the best hope for the world. You're the best hope for Wasia, for the counterattack, right? Because the vermilion bird is metal type, which can take out the emperor in the mountains, which is the whole fucking thing, which is the whole fucking thing at the end. But like, this is where that starts. And they're like, yeah, but like, you got to live together too. Bang, bang.
One bed trope.
Yeah. But it's a great one bed trope too, because she's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take the bed. Make yourself uncomfortable. Fuck you.
She goes, oh, that's right. This is ours now.
Yeah.
She's so good. I love her so much.
It was amazing. Like, it was amazing. And it is here though, in this scene, like after, so like Li Shuming and Jitian have to move in together. This is their first night. It's like really weird, whatever. We get the alcohol. We get, he's like draining, Li Shuming's like draining flasks in front of her, and they're like having this conversation. And, this is when Li Shuming is like, yo, you have been lied to about male needs. Like that is some bullshit. Like that is not what it's about. And she's like, tell that to everybody that's being like, right now. And he's like, yeah, but like all those men know exactly what they're doing. There's like a moment they go past it. They're cowards. Like you in society and like females have been lied to about this. It is not a real thing. Hey, also,
it's one of my favorite speeches that he makes.
Yeah. And he continues on to go like, also like pilots, we feel all of these concubines die. Like you have to be a fucking monster to not care about that. And hey, by the way, I am well aware of the R word because here's my backstory about why I killed my brothers and my dad. So like, this is my whole soul to you in this like drunken night in this spiel. And you're just like, you're breaking for him. You feel so bad for him, but also like, at this point, like, we don't even know what we don't know about him yet.
Yeah, we don't know how deep it goes, but we know in this moment we find out why he unalived his brothers and his dad. You also find out the backstory of they knew what they were doing because they looked back at him, they smirked, and they had a counteractive plan if he ran his mouth. So he was like, they had me in a bind. So you know what? I took matters into my own hand, and I don't feel regret. 1 ounce of it. It needed to be done.
Yeah. And he did what needed to be done. And this is where Jitian is like, okay. Because he's also, Li Shuming's also like chained. He has a leash. Like at this point, like it is bad. It is bad. But now we're up to like training camp. We're up to ice skating. We're up to the cafeteria fight. And we're up to Iju saving the day after Li Shuming is put in isolation after the cafeteria fight, which was a setup by the other pilots to get revenge on both of them for the death of Yongwang. Now, I was not expecting Iju to show up. I really was not. And I'm so happy he's here.
Oh, what was it? I was finishing chapter 18 and you had checked in with me. You said in my first read and you go, where are you? And I go, I just started chapter 19. And you were like, oh, that's a good chapter. Ooh, that's a good chapter. Because it came out of nowhere. And this is where the communication between Iju and Jitian, they communicate even more because he goes, look, I fucked up. I knew I was being selfish. Not only did I know, like I did it anyway. And I went against what you were asking me. Like, that wasn't right of me. And love is just so, I love you so much deeper. And I have it highlighted somewhere. I didn't write it out yet because, as Laura and I said, like, I had two choices. I could do either all my research today after my one read, or I go into my second, or I did my reread, and I chose the reread, and I'm so glad I did. But he says something, and Jiqian's like, fuck, you really do love me. Like, it was such a great moment. But then he also brings more knowledge to her about the person that she's paired with, who she's supposed to marry with Li Shimin. And she's like, he has like all this education, all this background, this stuff that's supposed to be bought. And he goes, you had this whole different perception and in your mind about him. And then she's like wavering, and he goes, no, he's still the same person. And she's like, but is he?
But is he?
I love her. So I get her. I feel like she is like our feminine rage personified on paper. It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. I like Iju being like, you're my polar star. When you love someone, you help them bloom. Like, we love that. But as you said, he drops the knowledge bomb, right? Li Shuming shot his eyes studying. That's why he's got glasses. He went to the best schools. I was not expecting Iju to be fully tatted. I fucking loved it. I loved it. I
fantasy mail giving him ink. Man.
Give it to me. I love it.
We are weak.
Weak, fold. I'm a simple person. Oh my gosh. And as soon as like Iju was like, well, I mean, do you know what these mean? It's like, yeah, we know what these mean. Your dad's like a gangsta, but like, okay. It's all good. Iju though has a crush on, let's be for real here, has a crush on Li Shuming, and Li Shuming has a budding crush on Iju, and Jitian are in love. A triangle is the strongest shape. We'll get there.
And Jitian even says like, that's for them to figure out.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna, their bullshit. Like, yeah.
I'm gonna just enjoy everything right now. Why do I need to choose?
Why choose? We don't have to choose. But now that Iju is here, we're like on mission, right? We're on mission. So Iju's like, yo, Li Shuming, get sober. That's bullshit. You have 18,000 reasons to get sober now. Let's do it.
And Iju like presents it like, oh, I can be, because of who his father is. He definitely pivots the whole, like presents the whole situation to one of the sage people. I can't remember the name. I'm just too excited. I'm focusing on the good stuff. To one of like the government people to be like, look, he needs to get sober. Like he would be, if we need to beat these twins, like he needs to be so much stronger. He's going to operate better sober. They'd be better together. Let me help be his sober companion.
Yeah, it's like, let me be your sober companion. Yeah. We love that. We can hold hands. It's a whole thing. We love it. It's so sweet. While this is happening, Jess, as you mentioned, there is 2 weeks between battles, right? While Li Shuming starts detoxing, and this is when we get stuff about the family and Winda and everything. The strategists have behind everybody's back.
Strategists. I couldn't think of that name. Yes, thank you.
The strategists have decided to tribute Li Shuming and Jitian. They're just causing too much trouble. And Sima Yi's like, fuck this. I'm from Central Command. They go and hide. And that is how they avoid that little situation. I do love that Sima Yi's like, fuck this, let's go hide. Here now is the cattiness, I think, just that starts that you were talking about earlier. This is the communal shower scene.
Because Jitian makes a comment how out of the three, they're considered iron princesses because of where their power level is. She is the only one with bound foot, and the two of them do not have bound feet. So I think it was also a realization for her to realize, to see, oh, so it's another thing that was like just fed to me. Yeah. I did not need to do this.
Yeah, my market value is fucking bullshit because here they are and their feet are completely fine. Mm-hmm. But it is here where Jitian tries to make friends, right? She tries to make friends with was it Dugo?
That's her name.
Yeah. And she's like, stay the fuck away from my partner. I saw him in our mind link. He's thinking about you. Fuck you.
And she was just, she was like, that's not a me thing. And she's like, I was just trying to be friends. And she's like, oh, what? You're just going to come here to use me if it's not for my partner? And she's like, oh,
she's like,
I did
what
have a
is
question.
And then she's like, is this what you're using your brain for? Can you use your brain for anything other than a man? Like, come on. Like, write about it. Yes. And then Dougal's like, okay, you man-killing whore. And then she just, like, knocks her the fuck out. Straight down, Jetian goes to the shower floors. And then we have our little Xiaoming Black Tortoise manipulation tactic here. Because it starts here. The manipulation.
Yeah. The manipulation starts here because there's the other girl who's also has 2 children. She's pregnant again and she's 23. And at this point in the book, we pretty much know like the max age capacity is like 25 because otherwise you're basically deemed useless by the government because you don't have enough energy, all this stuff. So she was even like, it's kind of risky that you're pushing your limits when you essentially only have 2 more years to live.
So why are you doing this? But it's also like, why'd you have kids? Like, why did you do this to yourself? But then also Jetian's like, well, what the fuck am I about? Like, what if they made her and it's just another way to control her, which ends up like, obviously, like that is the later plot point. But it's like,
I have a quote right here. When a woman gets pregnant, her body is suddenly everybody's business. Endless restrictions could be clamped onto her, quote, for the good of the baby, end quote. There's no better tool of control.
Yeah, no better tool of control.
Okay, an aside, how anybody fucking reads this book and doesn't even like, hello? Like, put a mirror against it and what we're talking about with some of these conversations, how nobody, and you were saying like people weren't passing the vibe check. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, why the fuck not? I mean, you don't have to, you're saying it by not saying it. And here, Xiaoming, female pilot of the Black Tortoise here is also like, yo, do you need like cover powder? Cause like men get carried away. We have to stick together because like we can serve, but like, there's still dangers out there and we need to stick together. And Jetian's like, yo, you know what? I see your point, but like my grandma is the one that broke my fucking feet. So like, I can't assume female like companionship, camaraderie here. So like, I
love how Jetian is always like, yes, but hear me out. Like she's her own devil's advocate in every situation because she needs to be, because the only one who's looking out for her is her.
Yeah, the only one looking out for her is her. And she also like doubts herself, obviously, because she goes back on this feeling later on. But like, damn. But here now is where we get like full Hunger Games media action, right? Jetian is like looking around. She's like, yo, I need some fucking power. I need some fucking money. What can I do about this? Yo, I'm going to sell myself to the media. I'm going to make myself a cash cow. Because
she's so smart.
She's so smart. She's like, hey, Iju, like, you are Gao Iju, Gao, like what? Industries, Gao Enterprises, Gao billion yen situation. So she goes and she tries to, Jetian, market herself to, Iju's dad to make some money, and Iju's dad is like, yo, okay, but like, you got to prove that you can make me some money. Prove that you can power up the bird again. Make sure that wasn't just a fucking fluke. I want to see you do it again. And, they're like, okay, fine. We can do that. Meanwhile, this is where we have this really fantastic scene that I cannot wait to see, when, Sima Yi has Li Shuming and Jetian in armor jump off the Great Wall. And it's the flying scene with Jetian where she finally can fly on her own. She doesn't have to depend on a man because they start off together. And then Jetian like has the armor and like sprouts from her back and she's finally flying on her own, pain-free, feeling freedom. I cannot wait to see that on screen. But of course, this training is where we get this, like, of course, this wonderful training that we have with the flying does come back to Sima being like, hey, yo, though, y'all need to fuck because you're being awkward and it's weird. And like, I'm going to let you go fuck right now if you want to.
Cause he was like, oh, what is like, y'all are off. Like, what is off? Like, y'all need to like get it out of your system. And she's like, what out? She's like, wait. Y'all haven't slept together yet? That's a bigger problem. And she straight up says, I have been told my entire life that I'm supposed to like keep this one thing, my virtue, I use in air quotes. And now all of a sudden I'm just supposed to give it to this guy that I hate. And of course, like that's when he walks into the room and he's like, oh, you hate me? And he's like, and Sim's trying to be like, look, he's soft. He's big golden retriever. If he loves you, he's hard on everybody else, but he is so soft with his girl. And she's like, what girl? What do you mean? There was another? Tell me more. He's like, no. Just go get fucked and get this shit over with because you'll be stronger together because this is the ultimate form of bonding with your partner. She's like, nobody wants to sleep with me.
Yeah, and also, Li Shuming's like, we're not fucking animals, my guy. Like, you can't make us do this. But Sima Yi's like, okay, I hear you, but it will help. It will help. I hear it, but all very good because on Al-Nushan, who is like the leader of the sages, more or less, orders them into battle 6 days after recharging. So they're obviously not at their full strength. So this is the battle where we get Iju and the hand charging up the bird with the chi on the wall. Because Sima Yi's like, no, she wasn't gonna come destroy the tower. I told her that you can rapid charge the bird if someone lends the chi. I totally told her to do this. She was not coming to kill us all.
You got optics, people.
Optics. Let's go. Let's market this. Let's market. Spin. I love it. Sima Yi's like working hard until he's not. But that fucking battle, oh my God. Can you imagine like they're killing it with the winds, like all is good, like things are really going. And then Jitian's like, all right. Fuck the government.
It's so good. I need this fuck the government in like IMAX big screen. This isn't like Amazon Prime shit. I need this on a big screen.
Oh my God. It's just, just so fucking cool. I can't even imagine. So what is going on here? So there's the fight, the headless warrior. There's like chi ripping. Things are going off. The headless warrior gets the legs ripped off. There's a fight going on there. She's like, hey, fuck you. And then, yes.
All while, like, let's keep in mind, like, yeah, we brought it up at the beginning of the episode, and yes, it's brought up in chapter 1, but she's still having the internal thoughts. What is it? We're around chapter 32, and she says, like, what I hate is this whole pilot system that insists girls are an unavoidable sacrifice in the process. So all this stuff is still happening, and it's still in the back of her mind. And I like that it's brought up because yes, it wasn't just like one of those little things that were dropped in the first chapter. You should be thinking this as a reader too. Like, what is it? Why are people always scared of women having power?
Yes.
Because we could fuck shit up and get damage done and like do the thing that needs to be done to fix everything. God forbid things get fixed.
And what's really lovely about this too is that, they're in villainous form. They're at the wall, whatever. Iju like comes out on the speakers. He's like, hello, here I am. I'm going to offer my chi. And he's coming out into the storm and the wind is blowing and he's got his hand out touching the beak and he's like lit up with the lightning and everything. And that's the shot that they're using for the marketing or whatever. But then he gets like, they bring him into the cockpit and it's like the three of them. And it's like, oh, here we go. All right. All right. We love it. We love to see it. More of this, please. Fantastic. Before this battle, actually, Jitian is shot And from here on out, she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I just think that's important for optics so that you know what you're picturing. From this battle onward, she is in a wheelchair.
For the rest of the book. Like, there's no part of her healing.
Yeah, for the rest of the book. And it is mentioned that it's like very painful. It's hard for her to walk. Like, they incorporate the wheelchair. She's still healing. So that is the thing. And she is shot by the soldiers because they are just like, fuck this. It's been 6 days. Like, fuck this. And Anshulan's like, nope, you're getting in the fucking bird. Get in the bird. It's happening. Go. But he fucks himself because the optics from this battle propel Li Shuming and Zetian to superstardom.
It's the Hunger Games mentality of all eyes are always watching.
My eyes were very much bugging out of my head when the hospital scene and Zetian, Li Shuming and Iju are holding hands in the hospital room. Oh my gosh. And she's been in there for 2 days after she's been shot and after that battle. But oh my gosh, I love it.
And who is it? Is it Sim that winds up saying, like, you need to, like, you can't be with both of them. You need to pick out because you're optics wise, like, you're with Li Shuming, and like, he's your husband. But like, yeah, I know, like, the media conglomerate's son is like who you are in love with. You have to. And she's like, well, haven't you ever heard that the strongest shape is a triangle? And he's like, get over yourself. But like, she truly means it. First, she said it as a joke, but then she's like, I don't think it's a joke anymore. I really want this to be a thing.
It's like, ooh, maybe. Now we are, I say we, like I'm in this book. I just love it that much. All of us are invited to the Capitol, right? We're invited to the Capitol. We're invited to Iju's dad's place because we have a contract to negotiate and a party to be seen at. Was not expecting the naked video reciting the contract, but it makes sense. He's a gangsta.
Yeah, he wants this blackmail, and she also kind of, she's like, what do you do? She says, why do you men hate women so much? And if that ain't the fucking truth, not just in this book, right? I think I heard somebody say on social, like, no matter how frustrated women will get with men and the patriarchy, women will never hate men the way men hate women, which is true. Like, we're more frustrated with men and the patriarchy and the actions that come with it than like the being itself. But what's really great for this scene is Zetian is basically like, you know what? I have been shamed my entire life and been told my entire life to be shameful of my body, which is mine. You know what? It's just about, after she tells him, she's like, why do you men hate women so much? She's like, eventually she's like, you know what? It's just a body. And she's like, you can tell she's trying to psych herself up to be like, it's just a body. It's my body. I'm going to choose how we're going to use this as a weapon for, and if this is a means to an end, so be it. Because at this point, she also has to make this decision in using her body to sign the contract, because there's also liquor in the room, and Li Shuming had to leave because his addiction to alcohol is so strong that was forced on him by, like, I don't think we've gotten to that part yet, but which has been forced on him by the government to control another way to control. He was just like kind of holding her hand under the table. And she even says, I know that look. I know what this means. He's okay with whatever I decide. So she's doing this for them so they can kind of continue with this trajectory of also, another optic situation. She needs the media on her side and on, are they married? I'm just kind of like, yeah, no, like,
no,
yes and no, kind of, yeah. But like the media to be on her side right now.
Yeah. And Zetian says, like, he's trying to bind me with shame, but like, he can't shame me with my own body. Those are self-imposed emotions. You know what else is a self-imposed emotion? Fucking rage. Like, let's do this. And just to kind of expand again on what you're saying about like, why do you hate women? He also says, like, we don't hate women in general, just the ones that don't listen to us. What would we do without women? It's just like, you pig. You absolute pig.
Oh, yeah. But that also aligns precisely with another quote that was said in chapter 32. So we're like a couple of chapters back where she goes, maybe we're devalued precisely because we're so valued. The world is too afraid of not being able to obtain and control us, and us being women, to respect our true worth.
Absolutely. Oh my God. All of that to say that she does sign the contract. The contract does end up to be very lucrative for her. But their photo shoot, talking about optics, she's the one in the leash for their photo shoot the next day as like unearthly figures. They're like, we're going to do a story in the media as like, people are going to hate you, but they're not going to be able to look away from you. It's going to get all of the clickbait, all of the things. And your like story arc is going to be like, you're villains and we all hate you, but you're going to do something heroic and you're going to get married and like tame each other. And you're going to be like, these role models, but you're not there yet. You're still really wild.
And then she even said during those photo shoots that the media didn't know what to do with her because they're so used to having the women portrayed as like these meek, docile, subservient people toward the men. And here they need to portray that they're both strong. They're both equals. You cannot fuck around with them. So they couldn't just focus on Li Xiaoming.
Yeah, they could not. And to really drive that home, this is what, we're jumping. This is a long episode. We're jumping. But we're jumping to the idea of the match crowning being like a balanced match between two of them. That is a marriage. And, Jitian pitches that to, Iju's dad. And he's like, bet. We're going to do it. We're going to make it big. We're going to make it amazing. Everybody's going to love it. And it's going to be fantastic. While that is being set up, we have Iju dropping lines like, hey, I'm not jealous. Love can be infinite. It can expand, right? Like triangles again.
He is saying all the things that work. Love is about compatibility. Our love with each other doesn't negate the love that you have. If I were jealous, would insinuate that I didn't trust what we have between each other. This man.
It's amazing. Of course, they start fucking at this point, right? Yeah, they start fucking here. Yeah, Jitian and Iju start fucking here, and they start having a relationship. And it is now after they have sex. I'm just saying it, that Jitian gets these memories of Li Xiaoming being force-fed the liquor, with his mouth held open by razor blades, by An Lushan, and being force-fed with a tube.
So it's going directly into him. There was no like elective consumption, if you will.
Yeah. So his mouth is held open with razor blades. There's a tube going down his throat because he didn't want to keep killing girls and keep going into battle. So this is the way that they managed, and they gave him such a strong addiction. And this is the state that Jitian first meets him in. Li Xiaoming is pretty solid on his road to detox by now. Very proud of him for that. But this is like, I do love that Jitian and Iju like run to his room, and she's like, what's going on? Why didn't you tell me? You let me like be so shitty to you, more or less. And he was like, well, I deserve it, pretty much.
Yeah, he believes he deserves it. He goes, I said, isn't that what you wanted to hear? I do kind of deserve it because I kept making the choice to kind of take on these concubines and to fight these wars. And I didn't unalive myself like she had told him to do at the beginning of the book. And she, you know what I love? She gets so, and this is just also very us, you get so mad for the people you care about, where she's like, another one on the list. He's not going to fucking do it. I'm going to kill him. So so now she has, her own little radar out for An Lushan because what he put Le Xiaoming through.
Absolutely. And now we are up to the photo shoot happening in Jitian's family home. this is where we get manipulation from mom, manipulation from the pilot of the Black Tortoise. We get some white tiger dropping truth, and we get the doll from mom, and just like the marriage being like the most important part of this.
That's the only thing that her mother is focused on. And that's one of the things that she's frustrated about. And then you have like the tortoise where she's just like, you know what? Like, I won at one point in my life too. And don't help your family, because when you do, like, they're the worst types of predators that make you think that they're the prey and people are out for you're really buying into it at this point too, that she's just looking out for like girls watching girls' backs kind of thing. And that's not what this is at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Because her, Jitian's family is like, hey, where's the money? Where's the money? Don't you know what our life has been like? Our life has been fucking horrible since you killed Yang Wang. Like, we get harassed by people, like, fuck you, basically.
But that's all that all the daughters and their family were good for was a paycheck. I mean, Jitian said it already, and I can't remember if we said it in this episode or if we were talking about it before we started, where Jitian says they were more concerned that they didn't get the paycheck from her sister's death than her sister actually dying.
Yeah, it's really fucking horrible. And it's also really horrible too because the Black Tortoise female pilot, she is like, hey, like, yeah, your family's like really awful, but like, don't you think they're awful because like this place is awful? Don't you think like if you took them out of this place and like brought them closer to the capital, that maybe like it would remove the things that make them terrible and they'll become better people? And Jetian's like, maybe.
Well, I think she said maybe. And then the whole bullshit with her brother that we talked about at the top of the episode happened. And she's like, no, they would have still been the same motherfuckers.
Yeah, but she does move them. She immediately, she calls Iju's dad and is like, hey, like, take them, yeah, take them out of here. And then that's when the white tiger is just like, you know what? My family came to me for handouts too. And they were like, hey, pay for this, pay for this, pay for this. I got gambling debts. And it took me 2 years. And then I finally cut them off. And they call me basically like a bitch. And I just say, hey, fuck you, while my bank account like climbs. Like, what is it? It's like, you can't appease people. Fuck you. Fuck all of that. And it is just like very interesting. These two other female pilots just presenting these like two very different options based on their own like lived experiences, but also with the knowledge that the Black Tortoise pilot has 2 kids that are being used as control for her. We can never forget that because Jitian does forget that, and it fucks her very badly in the end. Very badly, very badly. Just as you said, there is the quote here of like, there is a predator that disguises itself as prey. That quote is so similar to a quote from Gladiator that I cannot get it out of my head. It's one of the advisors talking to Commodus. It's about a sea snake. And it waits and waits, and it takes little bites, and it waits and waits, and then it strikes. It's the whole thing. Gladiator is a really good movie. I love this match crowning. Did you picture it like the Hunger Games? Because I did.
Yeah.
Caesar. Yeah.
It's and you just rewatched the Hunger Games too, so it must have been really fresh in your mind.
It really was. It really was, especially with these outfit reveals and the crowns and the crowd and the wings and the fire, all of it.
The drama that came with all of it.
Yeah, and it's just optics. It's just optics. You know, this is finally like Li Shuming is being granted like pilot privileges in the eyes of everybody. He's the king of pilots. He's getting his accolades because again, they are now, the Vermilion Bird, the best, greatest hope for the counterattack to take back the province of Zhou from the Wind Winds. Like that is what we're working towards. I love this. I love this. The strategists are there. Anjulan is there. Iju's dad has gotten and like has what is it? Like greased all the palms, like paid all the bribes, like everybody that needs to be there is be there. Everybody's on the side. Everybody's all in on this like media spectacle. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Also very great is we have our very sweet, Lin Xiuming and the consummation of their like match crowning, right? And he's like, and this is a Little Mermaid reference. He's like, every night I dream of walking on knives, but I don't think it's a dream. I think that's just your life. And it was a very nice acknowledgement from a male character that her life, Zhiqian's life, is hard and difficult and painful. And coming from him, who has also had a hard and difficult and painful life, that was very special between the two of them.
And I think she needed it because it's the first time that somebody was kind of, I don't want to say going through it with her, but understood where she was coming from, or, empathized in a way. Like I'll never know what it's like to be a woman and be a woman that's gone through the things you've gone through. But sharing those memories and that mindset and having his own pain, like she hasn't, even though she has her own relationship with Iju, his relationship is very different with his family and the people in his life than it is with hers. So for her to have that similarity and that shared experience in a way, it definitely meant a lot to her.
Just tell me about this waterboarding scene.
Oh, I wrote it. I was like, alcohol waterboarding. We love it. So we finally get to An Lushan, who obviously we know who has forced this alcohol addiction on Li Xiuming. And they were like, oh no. He's like, oh, you're going to do it to me. He's like, and I think one of the things is, he thinks we don't have creativity. So they basically set up this whole thing of they do waterboard, but instead of waterboard, they use liquor. They threaten his son, which they don't. They just basically did some crazy Photoshop, made it look like they had his son. He's just a boy. Please don't give him. And they were like, and my question, and I'm reading this, I was like, you weren't this concerned when it was just kids that you were sending, when it was just women you were using as concubines. It's because he's a boy and he's yours and he's your son. That's your only concern. And Zhiqian and Li Xiuming are like, tell us the truth, because we have this other guy in the other room and we'll know if you two are lying, even though there's no guy in the other room. They're lying about the whole thing. Give us the truth. Tell us what your power means. Tell us why you're suppressing women and not men. Give us all the answers. And he's like, fine, I'll tell you. Just let me live. Just let my kid live. And Li Xiuming's even like, we never promised. Thanks for all the tea. And they unalive him at the end of it. But this is we're getting more plot in this part of the book where we're hearing where they're asking for answers. They're like, talk. We know the system is rigged against girls. Give us the specifics. And this guy's trying, and An Lushan is trying to be like, oh, well, girls are just naturally weaker. That's just the way it is. And we're like, we don't buy it. Waterboard him again. They keep waterboarding him. And so then he's trying to say basically you have active and inactive spirits, and the active input is spirit pressure, and it signals into the spine, and the passive input is just the chi flow. So they're basically directing what goes in and out. What's the energy surplus like? So because they don't value women, they take the women's energy as opposed to the men's.
Because how else are you going to get positive army recruitment if people know there's a chance those boys can die in those chrysalises from those girls? The marketing.
It's all about marketing. And then it's like, and why are we not going? Oh, and then you find out that the chrysalises suppress the women's energy, because obviously women's energy is just tenfold to the boys, and they also can't get the recruitment that way, because they're like, well, how would the families of the boys feel if a girl would beat them? Their feelings would get hurt, so we can't have that, because if their feelings are hurt, they won't want to come and fight for our army. So it's all about making it seem like the women are serving men as an honor because they know what they're signing up for. You never gave them a fucking choice because you have told them that's all that they were worth since the second that they were born.
Yep. What is the line? Girls are used to sacrifice.
Yeah, the girls are used to sacrifice. We're like, they gave us no other choice.
Yep. And what is and Jatiana is like, you know what? No, because like you force us to love and respect you, but you can't force love and respect, and we will always have resistance and disgust for you because of that. Like, fuck you. It's so good. Oh my God.
Good. I'm looking at the quote right now.
Yeah.
So good.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So that is like the like mind-blowing rigged system that we get
that the government has been in on, and the families don't know. They just know that they get a paycheck.
Yeah. It is quite gross. We get after this the bun frying scene, very sweet with Iju's frying all of those buns. This is where we get triangle being the strongest shape. You know, I'm sorry, don't be sorry, handsome, wink, wink. Very cute stuff. We love that. But moving on, we have hit chapter 40. There are 329 active chrysalis in this fucking counterattack, and into the wilderness we go. This is the backslide of the book. I was not expecting to see these nomads. I was not.
I wasn't expecting to see the nomads, but I feel like it like with every YA fantasy and fantasy in general, it's all happening at the tail end of the book. But it also feels like it keeps going. Like it just doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop because we have this plot, right? Because like Jetian and Li Shuming and Iju, like we're in the bird, like we're doing our things, we're going, there's perfect circles. The line, because the forest is there and there's perfect circles, and Jetian is like, what do the win-wins do? Like reuse these same like stepping holes to not fuck up the forest? How do these aliens treat this planet better than us who have lived here forever? It was like, the nomads being like, can you cure the emperor? Now, if you've been paying attention, you're like, the yellow dragon, the emperor. I get it. Emperor Qingjing. I got it.
I just kept thinking, I was like, oh, so this dude is frozen like Walt Disney. He's just waiting to be healed.
He's waiting to be thawed. And that is exactly what is going on. But it's so funny too, cause, Simei's like, ooh, yeah, we didn't tell you about this, but like we run into these people every now and then. We don't really know what to do about it. So just continue on. Stay on mission. It's also important. I don't think we've pointed it out. Pilots feel the emotions of the winds that they murder. I think that is very important. They hear the voices in their heads. That's going to come up very important soon. But that has always been the case. And it is something that is not talked about in pilot culture.
No, they don't seem to talk about any feelings, really. Because, I mean, pilot culture is essentially a ton of toxic masculinity going on there, because you even know that they went earlier in the book where he goes, did you not Li Xiaomin goes to Jetsian saying like, did you not think we didn't feel anything? We feel everything of somebody that we were connected to or somebody that we killed. Like we feel it all
of it. We feel all of it. I was feeling a really kind of certain way when the voices that from the winds, the Emperor class Win that they have to fight now in this battle, start saying humans, scourge of the universe.
Yeah.
And it's like unsettling. Everyone's like, oh God, what is this about?
Well, it's such a, like, just, it's such a good depiction of like, here we go. Fucking things up again.
Mm-hmm. Fucking up, taking names. This is a good battle. It's like, oh, you know, here's our priorities. Our priorities always should have been the alien invaders. You know, it doesn't, none of this like inner fighting matters if we're all dead. Like for vengeance, for freedom, for humanity, for fucking betrayal, because what is it? It's the black tortoise. The black tortoise is going to tribute, the vermilion bird. What the fuck?
She's the reason that Li Shiming dies.
Mm-hmm.
And I refuse to believe it because it's YA fantasy. So like,
Yeah, it's all very sus. So the black tortoise betrays and goes after Li Shuming. The strategists are in on it, obviously. Li Shuming ejects Iju and Jitian, which is crazy because you are not physically like able to pilot alone, but Li Shuming does pilot alone for a while until he doesn't.
he did it so she would survive.
Yeah, so that she would survive. And Iju has the wristlet, so he sees like when Li Shuming goes to 0. Of course, that's like it's all fucked up. But so we have this major like death quote. But now backslide out of the book. We're moving. Jitian's like, hey, nomads. Hey, I have a cure. Yellow dragon could probably like fuck some shit up. Hey, let's do this. And from the moment she's like on the ground being ejected to when she is stabbing the emperor in the neck with the cure for flower pox is so fast. I was like, let's do this.
I definitely missed it the first time, but I didn't miss the epilogue. But I was definitely like, wait, what? And then you get right into the epilogue, right after the line, fuck the cabin in the mountains, let's rule the world.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, damn. Let's. You are skipping.
I know, I'm skipping like the huge, there's still a huge narrative happening.
We're skipping the waking up of the yellow dragon and Chijian. I like this whole thing, the nomads giving the fire chi to wake him up because the dragon is like curled and then all of it. It's all very good. These visuals of the mountain and the dragon, it's all going to be amazing. The emperor has been out for 221 years. He's got flower pox. He can understand, or Jitian can understand him because they were all of the same, like Zhou, of the same like province. And the emperor can use all 5 chi, all 5 of the chis. And there's the mind realm. We have an Oogway situation. And Li Shuming is there to really help Jitian and like pull her out of this mind realm of the emperor because he is so incredibly strong. So it is like using like him, he helps her.
It definitely felt like, at least the first time I read it, it felt like Jitian's like, ooh, I fucked up. Like I was not expecting him to be this strong so soon, so fast. I need to find a way to separate and distance myself.
Yeah. And then Jitian is like, or Li Shuming is like, you have to remember who you are. Like, I will never leave you. I'm inside of you. We are all like in it together. You'll never be alone.
I'll never, the spirit, like this, my spirit lives within you. Oh,
It's all so good. Because then Jitian's like, all right, let's fuck it up. Hey, Emperor, get in the yin seat. Get down. Get in the yin seat. We're doing this. Bang, bang. We're doing this. Get in the yin seat. And then when she makes it out of the mind realm, the Emperor's like, this is new. What the fuck is this about? Who are you? Cool. I love this because then in the yin yang realm, the Emperor lets Jitian take control. We love it. And then Jitian reveals the truth about the pilots to the cameras, right? To the media. We love this moment.
Yeah, and she says and I know, she says it in such a way that she knows it got shut off, and she's like, it doesn't matter. I got everything out there really quick, as much as possible, and it's out, like, you can't, like, she knew she had to say it as the way that she did because they were going to cut the cameras.
Yeah, and she opens the hatch, so she shows the switched
it is
setup.
Me.
Yeah, like, I'm in charge of the Emperor, and like it's clearly Emperor. They're in the Yellow Dragon. It's all just like really fantastic. And then they fly to the capital, but there's a little So like obviously the counterattack was a success, and like she takes out some the satellites and stuff so that she has some time to go and attack the capital. It's all very good. But then Jitian is reflecting on the betrayal of the Black Tortoise, and she's like, you know, I made the same mistake that they did. I underestimated a woman, and I never will again. And it was like,
right? Same. I thought that too. I was like, cause that's relatable too.
yeah, it is all really relatable. Oh my gosh, we are on my last page of notes. The dragon has made it into the city, and the Jitian's plan is destroy as much as you can and create a power vacuum, and then just be in control. And I love that for her. It's just the best. I love it because the palace is like consort Wu, and she's like, it's Empress Wu. It's Empress Wu.
I know. Correct them. I earned this. Give me my title. I love it.
Don't you see me? Don't you see me controlling the emperor? It's Empress. And then the palace is like, yo, but we have your family. We have your family. And this is the moment that we've been referring to where they push the brother out and show compassion for the brother.
Ah.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, you thought Squish. You thought Squish the family.
I love it. I love it.
I was not expecting it because she says, sorry, you're in my way. And after she did it, I was like, oh, she actually did it. A character actually did it. Like, go off. Go off.
I'm speechless with this book because I love it so much. I paced myself my first read, and we did the reread. I finished an entire reread today, and it's not like, oh, I need a break from it. I'm ready to read it again.
I know. I could read it again.
It's weirdly a comfort book, no?
Yeah, I think it is. We are almost done. There's like two big things that happens, right? Gaucho comes in the hovercraft surrounded by kids. What a move. I mean, if you're gonna have a move,
you gotta get the kids involved.
One.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good one.
It's a very kiss the baby kind of thing.
Yep. But Iju, because Iju is a gangster raised by a gangster, is like, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. So bang! Bang! Lightning dead.
I love it because he was like, because Iju was like, what video is he talking about? Because his dad was like, oh,
using the blackmail.
And she's like, it's nothing. I'll tell you about it later. And the dad's like, can't be nothing. Because otherwise you would have brought it up. And like you said, he goes, let me talk to him. And she's like, and she's like, I can't, this is something he wants to do. I can't not, like, I have to, like, it's consent. Like, I can't tell him no to doing something that he wants to. He didn't even want to hear about it. He's like, I believe you. Like, unalived his dad, no question asked. Which was so funny because earlier in the book, his dad is like, you haven't even slept with my son. How do you have him so whipped so soon?
Yeah, because Gaucho's like, I am not an absentee father. I know what the fuck my kids are doing. I know where they are. I know who they're hanging out with. I'm aware of this. Like, what is this? I love it. But he's dead. And then Iju's like, well, I guess I just inherited all this yin. And the Emperor's like, yo, is that still a lot of money? Like, are we flush?
Oh, yeah, they were like, what's inflation like right now?
Just
and
like,
if it was us in our current state, we're like, not good. Not good right now.
Not good. But it's like 1.46 billion yen or like 1.4 billion yen about it. And Iju's like, yo, defy us and die.
It's so good. It's so good.
And it's like, all right, long live the Iron Widow. But then we have our epilogue. We have the wrap up, right? The wrap up. Vermilion Bird out to get Li Shuming. The Yellow Dragon out to get the Vermilion Bird, Li Shuming. All the other chrysalists out there, like, they took him. Something came out of the fucking sky and took him. And it's the gods. We have a message from the heavenly court, like, hey, shut the fuck up. Stay in line. We'll talk. By the way, here's a tank with Li Shuming. Just waiting for you.
Shut
the fuck up.
If you do our bidding as the sages did, we have ways to bring back what you lost. But if you defy us or reveal the truth, you will lose everything.
Yep, shut the fuck up. And also Jetian can feel the Emperor's spirit getting stronger. She doesn't know, just as you said, how long she can really control the yellow dragon. But here is the last fucking paragraph of the book. We have Iju frantic on the monitor. I learned the truth. The wind winds are the natives. The humans are the invaders. The humans are the aliens. And then Jitian just starts screaming. Amazing. And this is how it needs. This is how I'm so glad the book ends like this. This is how it needs to end on screen. Everything from start to finish with the caveat of the female betrayal. This is easily, what are we? We're recording this in April. One of my favorite books from 2023. Easily. It's amazing.
It's so everything. I mean, we've been gushing about it. You've been trying to gush about it, but I feel like you were like, I don't even know where to begin to start the gushing, because you read this almost a year ago at this point.
Yeah, and it was so important to me that you go in blind, just because I had such a reaction to it going in blind, and I had just these points of references in my head. And I really wanted that for you, just to kind of experience this, because also, let's be really real here. This is sci-fi, and this is a really sci-fi for you.
Really? Oh, for me, yeah.
Yeah, more sci-fi than I think you have read, at least here on the podcast.
That's true. Yeah, I don't really read a lot of sci-fi. I feel like the last sci-fi-ish book that we really covered was the Kricket series. But we usually focus on fantasy. But I was getting into it, again, prologue, chapter 1, and all you said was, oh, if you're liking it now, just wait. And then yesterday when we chatted a bit, you were like, oh, I'm so relieved. I wasn't sure which way this was going to go. And, for the most part, I love everything, but I feel like after the virgin suicides conversation, you're like, maybe not. Maybe I'm doubting the way that we're going. This is easily, it's so good. I can't gush about it enough. So, what was your favorite part? It just feels like this whole book was so good. There's so many things that can be a favorite part. Where do you begin?
Honestly, I think my favorite part would be my favorite visual, I think, would be Welcome to Your Nightmare. That's just a really great visual. But honestly, I think the conversations that Jitian has just about the inequality and the stamping down of women, and the way that they're just grinding, the way that the government and society is just grinding them down, and in the foot binding and all of that and what that stands for. It's just so powerful that I really like having these conversations, and then having that character take all of this information and make all of these choices to fuck the world up, doing the thing. I love it when they actually do the thing. She does all of the things here. What isn't there to love?
1,000%. And even when she's having those conversations, I love that it's constantly in her mind. I love that she's constantly questioning things. And she says something at the beginning of the book where she was just referencing a conversation that her family has had in the past of basically societal expectations on women. And she goes, and as I got older, I realized I want to be like them. I want to be the woman who is rising up and having a say for herself against society. What is so wrong with that? And what's wrong with that in this world is that it is not, it's not accepted by society. And she started out with, I'm going to fuck shit up. I'm going to avenge my sister's death, to realizing it was so much bigger, and she was going to be the one who needed to show for it. And she did it it wasn't like she wanted to better society. She really just wanted to fuck over. She didn't care if the rest of society followed in suit. She didn't care. It was all very This is what I'm going to do. Karma doesn't exist. I am karma. I think she even says that at one point.
She does.
So fucking good.
She does. Oh, what a good line.
It's so good. I have nothing to say except praise for this book, Laura.
I have nothing but praise. Nothing but praise.
Feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. And just feel free to reach out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting us gush. And thank you for your patience in this, like, a little extra long episode. They've been running long, but we appreciate you nonetheless. Thanks so much. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.